My name's Victoria Marchand. I've been at the Saskatoon Fire Department for 6 years and as emergency dispatcher, and I love it. Emergency dispatching is multitasking to the extreme, but I don't want to scare anybody. We're in constant communication, either on the phone, on the radios, with our crews, with the public, our own coworkers, and every day is absolutely different. We, of course, answer radios and telephones, and sometimes simultaneously. We dispatch not only for the city of Saskatoon, but also for Martinsville, Osler, Warman, and Dalmeny. So most dispatchers dispatch for multiple areas. So for Saskatoon, our day-to-day is answering the phones, talking on the radios. We're in constant communication. We're talking all day. And then we're also listening and talking sometimes. So multitasking is key. A big part of our day also involves administrative work. So we're answering the bylaw phones for our fire inspectors. We also do lots of just day-to-day tasks outside of emergencies. But my favorite part of the day is answering the phone and sending our emergency and non-emergency calls out. That's where we really shine, because we get to choose who we send based on our policy and procedures. So I love it. So Prince Albert, as well as Regina and Saskatoon, they're the primary answering point, so based on where you are in the province. If I call around Saskatoon, again, it shoots me to Saskatoon Police Service. If I call Regina, it shoots me to Regina. So when an emergency call comes in, first we're going to go back to where the call taker is calling 911. So the call taker would call 911. It would go to a primary answering service, which is in Saskatoon. It would be Saskatoon Police Service. Their 911 dispatcher would answer the call, ask if you want police, fire, or ambulance. In our case, we're fire. So if you report there's a car on fire, there's an accident, somebody's trapped, that goes to fire dispatch. That's what I do. So then I answer the phone. From there, that's when we take over with the fire dispatching. If it's a fire-related emergency, and we, based on our policies and procedures and what the caller's telling me, that's when I send the appropriate apparatus. I chose my career initially in law enforcement. So when I left high school, I wanted to be a police officer. It was appealing at first, but as I learned who I was as an adult, I went to school for Lethbridge College, so I did 2 years of policing there. I graduated, and then I went into bylaw enforcement with animal control. Then I went into a peace officer position at the university for 6.5 years, and that's where I really got a taste for dispatching, and I started gearing my courses towards dispatching. And what I did first was I looked at job postings in the city for dispatching, and I geared my resume based on what those job postings were. So for fire, it involves going and taking courses under APCO, Priority Dispatch, and the International Academy of Emergency Dispatch. And that's all available online. There's in-person classes you have to take, and again, that's all scheduled online, but starting by looking at the job posting was helpful for me. And then I took my dispatch courses while I was a peace officer at the university, and for myself, I knew dispatching was where I wanted to be. I like being the first responder, so that means I can answer the phone, and until our responders arrived, I have that control. I have that ability to make my caller feel calm. I just love that span of control, knowing I'm helping somebody. And that's what dispatch does for me. Most of us come from positions that involve problem solving or customer service. So a lot of us are from customer service-based positions. So starting out in like a retail chain or starting out in a restaurant. And then from there, we might have all at some point been in some type of dispatching position, whether that's like a tow truck company, a security company, law enforcement, medical dispatching. We do need some dispatching experience to come into this fire world. It's pretty typical, yes. We do all start with the same education. So you are required to get those online courses I mentioned, Priority Dispatch, the International Academy of Emergency Dispatch, and APCO. Those are the big ones. The personalities that really do well in here are people that enjoy problem solving. People that, I guess, think outside the box and that do really well under stress and have those customer service skills are huge. Just be able to talk to people in dispatch is, I think, the biggest skill. So if you can have those customer service or those jobs that make you think outside the box, that's where you'd really shine. Because I think that's what we all have in common. Without sounding cliche, I enjoy helping people. That's what I love most about my job. So for me, it's that fast-paced, critical thinking, problem solving, and knowing that you're helping somebody ultimately into a positive outcome, which you can hope for, is the best. And fire is Fire dispatching specifically is super rewarding because the calls, we respond right away because a fire grows every 30 seconds. And then knowing that they're going to be putting that fire out is rewarding because you get the outcome on dispatch. You get to know what happened. And that's what I love about fire dispatching specifically. I think the advice I'd pass on to anyone interested in dispatching or emergency services would be to download those job postings. Volunteering is big, it gives you a nice baseline and also is attractive to employers, especially emergency services. And I would also recommend talking to the people in those positions. A phone call to dispatch. I did ride-alongs when I was starting out and sit-alongs, so I think that was super crucial and beneficial to answering all the questions I needed. So one thing I wish I would have known when I started out was that there's many different types of dispatching. There's police dispatching, Medivy, fire, tow trucks, alarm companies, so many various dispatching roles that we can have. And that's one thing I had no idea about. So make those phone calls, do those sit-alongs, get those questions answered, and it's that easy. You could be where I am, and I love it, so.